Welcome to EPG Padasala. I am Dr. K. Mavalirajan, Department of Ancient Indian History, Culture and Archaeology, Vishwabharati, Shantiniketan. The paper title Economic History of India up to 1707 AD. The model which I am going to discuss with you on South Indian economy under the Kalyani Chalukyas and Kalachuri dynasty. Before discussing the title, we must know about the economic condition of the South India, especially the economic condition of the Kalyani Chalukya and Kalachuri. The Kalyani Chalukyas and Kalachuri dynasty in South Indian history, they were very familiar. They were politically the influenced dynasty in South India and the South Indian territories. The topic which I am going to discuss with you on about the agriculture, trade and commerce and other agrarian related aspects of the Kalyani Chalukya and Kalachuri kingdom. The objective of the study which will focus on to understand the economic history of Kalyani Chalukyas and Kalachuri. The study also focus different kind of the land tenures. It emphasizes the crop cultivation and sources of water, village industries, coin system, merchant guilds, trade and commerce, and finally the taxations under the Kalyani Chalukyas and trust, the taxation under the Kalyani Chalukyas and Kalachuris. When we discuss about the importance of their economic aspect, they took keen interest in agrarian expansion. These agrarian changes led to the appearance of commercial activities. They constructed large number of the water sources for irrigation purpose. They formed a new settlement in villages. These new settlements led for the emergence of agrarian changes during the Kalyani Chalukyas and Kalachuri dynasty. The urban economy also flourished. Through the urban economic development, trade and commerce also enriched. Through the trade and commerce, we can find kind of the economic prosperity as well as the economic enrichment during the Kalyani Chalukyas and Kalachuri kingdom. Before entering the details on the agricultural base, we must discuss about the land tenure system under the Kalyani Chalukyas and Kalachuri kingdom. The land tenure was most important, the system which was existed during the period under studies. The land was most important resources in all pre-industrial food producing society. It was played a vital role in mobilizing revenue for the state in the form of land tax as well as agricultural produce. For levy land tax, demarcation was done in proper manner. They tried to bring many forest land under cultivation. The land grants served as one of the important means of bringing virgin land under the cultivations. Apart from this, the land tenure of the Kalyani Chalukya period, we also find large number of the land inscriptions which speaks about the land grants to the Brahmana, land grants to the individuals, land grants to the other religious establishment. They granted lands and villages to the temples and Brahmins, which the Brahmins land mostly called in inscription as Brahmapuri. In some of the places, it is mentioned as Agrahara and Brahmadeya. They also granted lands to war heroes. The land grants to a religious mothers also we get it from the inscriptional evidences of Kalachuris, and Kalyani Chalukyas. The land grants paved the way for the emergence of powerful landed intermediates that apart from these land services, there is also we find some individual ownership as well as the royal ownership pattern of the land holding. On the basis of the land holding system of early medieval South India, we can find three kinds of the land holding pattern system. One is the individual ownership, another one is the royal ownership, another one is the communal ownership. So, when we talk about the land tenure, which was known by several terms in inscription of Kalyani Chalukya and Kalachuri, there is references we get for the Talaviruthi, which speaks about the gifted land for maintenance of temple service. Another important term we get it from the inscription, that is Pattaviruthi. This is land gifted for teachers of Shastras. Then there is another term which we get it from inscription, Ahartika Viruthi. This is for land donation to the village teacher. There is also some references we find in inscription of Kalyani Chalukya, that is Kumara Viruthi, which is land holding of royal prince. There is also reference of Devaboha, which land gifted to the Shiva temple. Apart from these kind of the land tenure, we also get some of the references of the other land tenure from the Kalyani Chalukyas as well as the Kalachuri dynasty. There are some different types of land we find in the Kalyani Chalukya period. Generally, land was divided into different types as wetland, dry land, cordon lands, grassland and wasteland, finally the forest land. The following terms indicate the land division of the Kalyani Chalukya period. These are the some of the terms which we get it from the inscription. The term K stands for the land under wetcraft cultivation. Galde, which stands for land under dry cultivation. There is a term of Tonda, which means the garden lands. There is also a kind of the references we get, Mane and Mane Nivashna, which means the houses and house sites of the Kalyani Chalukya period. There is also, we find some kind of the measurement unit in Kalyani Chalukya inscription. Land was measured in the units of meter and kammas. There are references to 900 kammas and a meter of 76 rods in Kalyani Chalukya inscription. But the coal, it's a measuring rod which was itself no fixed unit in the measurement value of the land. Numerous type rod occur in inscription such as Priya coal, Krutya Kendaya coal and Perunanda Kale. These are the some references which consider as the measuring unit of land as well as the agricultural divisions. We also find some term of Rajamana which stand for the royal measurement. There is also term which we find Nivartana and Kanduha, which deals about the measure of land employed on occasions. Apart from these kind of the unit of measurement, we also find some of the evidences of how the state they properly measured the land for the levying of the taxes from the people as well as from the landowners. The landowners mostly paid their land tax whether in the form of the cash or in the form of the kind. Now we discuss about the crop cultivation. During the Kalyani Chalukya period, the people cultivated staple food crops like paddy and other stable grain from the wetland cultivation, the pulses and cotton cultivated in dry areas, sugarcane cultivated in areas having sufficient rainfall, areca and petal being the chief craft of the Chalukya period. The cultivation of garden product were also extensively practiced in those days. There are references to the grazing field in the Chalukyan inscriptions. There are also, we get references to the other cultivation from the Chalukya inscription, from inscription of Kalachuris. For the proper management of the crop patterns as well as the cultivation, the process, we need the proper irrigation. The Kalyani Chalukyas and Kalachuri, they realized the importance of the irrigation system. That's why they frequently patronage for the development of agricultural as well as the irrigation system in their domains. The cultivation of various crops dependent on a good supply of water. The river water is important source of irrigations. During the scarcity of the river water, they stored the river water and rainwater in the tank. When the rainfall was uneven, the cultivator used the tank water for irrigation. The king and royal families took special attention and provided their support in construction of the tank and other the water sources. We find the many of the information in inscriptions which speaks about the cow, the royal and as well as the rich people, they patronage for the construction of the water tank, how they spend the energies for the promotion of the agriculture as well as the irrigation system of that period. Inscriptions give us information on the support and patronage of royal families for the promotion of the irrigation facilities. In an inscription at Mandu, certain income from taxes and fines were set apart for digging a tank called Ratha Samutra, which indicate that even some of the income from the taxes or income from the fines, that also they utilized for the construction of the water tanks. So when we summarize that the agriculture and the irrigation practice of the Kalyani Chalukyas and Kalachuris, they paid keen attention on the agricultural development as well as the development of the irrigation system in the constructive manner. Now we discuss about industry and other industrial development during Kalyani Chalukyas and Kalachuri period. They paid most important the aspect in the development of industry as well as the development of the agro-based or agricultural-based industrial development in their period. There we can find many village industries. Different village industries were developed as a controlled industry of the state. Number of agricultural-based industries like oil pressing industry, sugarcane mills, spinning and weaving industry, the oil presses were licensed by the kings unless they were granted expenses. All the industries, they had to pay their taxes to the state as well as to the village officials. Through the income of the industrial development, they mostly they spend these revenue for the promotion of the village as well as the construction of the religious institutions in the village itself. In industrial activities, many artisan communities and other professional groups were involved. The artisans like the carpenters, the potters, blacksmith, goldsmith, coppersmith, they actively involved in the professional activities as well as the increase the revenue of the the village level. Inscriptions mention the occupational groups like the cobbler, washerman, barber, cattle keepers, and various laborers in the agricultural and other the groups. These all the communities they lived in the village premises. They worked for the village development. We can find many other communities in the regions. They specialist in the skilled artisan labor. They mostly involved in the several agricultural and agricultural based the industrial development of the regions. The salt manufacturing was important occupation of the state, which was a state monopoly. Only the state that produced the salt. The salt become important the articles of the import and export in internal as well as the external trade. There are also we find some woodwork, ivory work, jewels making, woolen corpus. These professional groups had to get sanction from the governing authority for their professional vacation. All the professional groups paid their taxes to the state according to their status of occupation. So these all the industrial people they paid the taxes to the government. These taxes increased the revenue of the state as well as the other the developmental activities. Now we discuss about the coins of the Kalyani Chalukyas and the Kalachuris. Both Kalyani Chalukyas and Kalachuris issued number of coins. Especially the Kalyani Chalukyas issued many gold coins. Coins were mainly used for commercial transaction. They issued gold and silver coins also. These coins indicate the richness of the state. We find a large number of references to coins of different varieties, the mints and minting centers, various denominations, the names of the coins in the contemporary, the inscription of the Kalyani Chalukyas. The period was very rich from the numismatic point of view because of when the archaeological excavation was going on in that particular period, the archaeologists excavated the many gold coins as well as the copper coins from the Kalyani Chalukya regions. These are some of the Western Chalukya coins which bear the king's name Someswara first, which belonged to 1043 to 1066, which belonged to 1043 to 1068 AD. There are various terms which we get from the inscription of the Chalukyas to gold coins. The term Katyana refers to gold coin. Guli inscription of Bulugamalla mentions some of the gold coins, which Vartaha Loki Gatyana, Gandhaha Bia Gatyana, and Kandaha Gatyana. These are some of the examples of the gold coins. They issued large number of gold coins in their region, which shows the richness of the dynasty as well as their keen interest in issuing the gold and silver coins. The Kalyani Chalukyas also issued the copper coins. There are some epigraphic references as well as the literary references to the copper coins in the Chalukya period. The Kalyani Chalukya coins have been found in Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra regions, which shows that they had the merchants of the Kalyani Chalukya regions. They had trade relation with the other neighboring territories. The Kalachuri coins. Kalachuris also issued several coins which is very similar to the coins of the Kalyani Chalukya. Some of the coins have the punched devices. The king Someswara issued several coins during his period. So these are the some of the replica of the coins, which shows the importance of the coins, as well as the how they issued so many the silver and gold coins. Now we discuss about the merchant guilds and their guild activities. When we discuss about the guild organization of the early India as well as the early medieval India, the guilds played vital role in the promotion of trade and commercial activity. Each traders or each commercial community they had their own the commercial organization. Another important thing, the various occupational groups also had their own organization, in particularly in 11th and 12th century AD. The merchants like goldsmith, cloth dealers, oil merchants, and grain merchants had their own guild organization. Almost all arts and crafts were organized into guilds. Many guild organizations are noticed in the South Indian inscriptional volume. Among them, very powerful South Indian merchant guilds were the Manigramam, Nagarattar, Anjuvannathar, Nanadesi, Ayyavol, and other the several the South Indian guilds. Among these the guilds, the Manigramam was very popular, very prominent. The guilds of the South India, they involved in internal as well as the external trade of the other regions. The Nagarattar also important trade guilds, they involve in the commercial transaction in the inland region. Anjuvannam and Nana Desi also a powerful merchant guilds. They involved mostly in external trade activities. There were some classes among the merchant guilds of the Kalyani Chalukya period. Among them, the 16 settis of the 8th Nadu was most prominent. They were very popular in the commercial transaction of the Kalyani Chalukya period. Many classes of merchant and soldiers which we get references from the inscription. There were Kavaras, Chettis, Chettikutas, Angakaras, Biras, Kandikas, Kaundas, and Kaundaswamins are the some of the names which indicate the traders as well as the trade merchant guilds. The merchant guilds during the Chalukya period, some of the Chalukya inscriptions speaks about the names of guilds like 500 Veera Balinjas, 16 of 18 Nadus, and 500 Swamis of Ayyavol in 1074 AD inscription from Kolal. We find references to Nana Desis in Prasasti of Rahimsala Vada. All these records came from the modern Bellary district of the Kalyani Chalukya period. Another important merchant guild, which Nana Desi played vital role in the commercial transaction of the external trade. In Chalukya inscriptions, we find mention of Nana Desi and other Mummuri Dandas. The Nana Desis were divided into Chola, Malaya, Kannada on the basis of their region and linguistic groups. They involved in trade activities, visited different countries, villages, towns and cities with valuable article in their bags. They traded in magnificent elephant, horses of finest breed, pearls, rubies, diamonds, and other the precious articles. They also traded some commercial commodities like sandal, musk, saffron, and other spices and perfumes. The Ainutru were the most influential and celebrated of South Indian the merchant guilds. They involved in the internal trade activities. They were also known as 500 Swamis of Ayyavolpura who conducted extensive land and sea trade. Now we discuss about trade and commerce of the Kalyani Chalukya and Kalachuri period. The trade and commerce was flourished during the period. There were many commercial centers. The urban economy of the Kalyani Chalukya was mainly based on the commercial activities of the town and commercial cities. We find several names of the town and cities in Kalyani Chalukya inscriptions. The big towns were called as Nagara, Pattana or Pura. Some of the Nagaras like Aihole and Dampal were called as Mahanagara. Mostly the Mahanagara, its big cities which is located near to the political centers of the Kalyani Chalukya and Kalachuri period, which played vital role in commercial transaction as well as the political legitimization of the authority. They played a vital role in controlling the political activity of the state. The most important the commercial unit of South India was Nagaram, which was very powerful, the administrative as well as the mercantile unit, which played as a vital role in a center of all commercial activities. We find references to Pattana Swamin and Nagara Chettis, who were mostly the inhabitants of the Pattanam and Nagaram respectively. The General Assembly of Nagara was called Mahajanas, who were very powerful group and controlled landed properties and its resources. The Nagara controlled regulated matters relating to the trade and commerce. The commercial center played vital role in the growth of state economy as well as in the growth of the internal and the external trade activities. Now we discuss about internal and external trade activities of the Kalyani Chalukyas and Kalachuris. They involved in both internal and external trade. The edicts of Aihole Swamins mention the trade activities of Indian kingdom with the foreign kingdoms of the Cheras, Pandyas, Malaya, Magad, Koshal, Saurashtra, Cambodia, Ladakh, Prussia and Nepal. They travelled in both land and sea routes. These merchants traded mostly in precious stones, spices and perfumes. These items were sold either in bulk or half-cut on street by local merchants in commercial towns. There were a remarkable growth in internal trade during the Chalukya period. Regular markets had gradually become urban centers. Various commodities were brought from villages to urban market for sale. The capital city of the Western Chalukya had remained an important trading center as well as the political center. There were other commercial centers emerged as the urban center in core area of the Chalukya region. This core region which played vital role in the economic development of the Kalyani Chalukyas and Kalachuri dynasty. There were many village markets we find in the Kalyani Chalukya period. Regarding the commercial activities in inland transaction, every village had its market. In village market, the best articles were kept for sale, including different kinds of the grains. In addition to grains, there were other articles such as oil, ghee, areca nut, vegetable, flowers, coconuts and other articles were sold in the village market. Every village temple also surrounded by many market area. In this market area, mostly the puja article as well as some household things were sold. A license had to be taken to open markets by merchant in certain area. The licenses was mostly granted by the royal officer by request. Now we discuss on the external trade and external trade activities. Kalyani Chalukyas controlled most of South India's west coast. By the 10th century, they had established extensive trade relation with the Sung Empire of China, the Empire of Southeast Asia, the Abbasid Caliphate in Baghdad. By 12th century, Chinese fleets were frequenting Indian ports. The traders from Chalukya country exported many commercial goods to the China and other foreign countries. So in this way, we can find many of the references for the export and imports of the inland trade as well as the external trade activities. They exported textile, spices, medicinal plants, jewels, ivory, rhino horn, ebony, and camphor to Sung dynasty of China and other western part of the world. The final destination for those trading with the West were Persia, Arabia, and Egypt. The one inscription of the Kalyani Chalukya mentioned the overseas trade activity of the Chalukyas with Malaya archipelago. We can find some of the other references in the Kalyani Chalukya inscription, how they had very close relation with the other western world as well as the relation with the China and other countries. The Siraf, a port of the Persian Gulf, served an international customer of merchants including those from the Chalukya Empire. An indicator of Indian merchants' imports in Siraf comes from records describing the dining plates reserved for them. In addition to this, Siraf received aloe wood, perfume, sandalwood from South India. The most expensive import to South India was Arabian horses, this trade being monopolized by Arab merchants. Traveler Marco Polo in the 13th century AD mentioned about the trading of horses with India from Arabias. Mostly, the traveler accounts of the Marco Polo give the details description about the commercial activities between the Kalyani Chalukyas and other nations. The busy trade activities, the foreign territories which speaks from some other the sources of Kalyani Chalukya period. Now we discuss about the taxation and the taxation policy of the Kalyani Chalukya. The Kalyani Chalukyas and Kalachuris levied several taxes on people. We find numerous technical terms of revenue in the inscription. Two kinds of revenue were collected by the state. One is Aya and another one is Sunga. The term Aya, which comprised all other items of income, fell into various kinds. The most notable, important, the articles of the state, which was the land tax. The land tax of the Kalyani Chalukya was referred in inscription as Siddhaya. There are also references of Pannaya and Dandaya from the inscription of Kalyani Chalukya. The term Sindhaya stands for the traditional land tax. The Pannaya was income from merchandise. The Tandaya was income from fine which imposed by court for punishment of offences. There are also some term like the Sunga, which is frequently we get it from the Kalyani Chalukya inscriptions. There were several variety of Sunga we find mentioned in Chalukya inscription, that is Vatta, Ravulda Sunga, Brijunga and Mannaya Sunga. Each of these Sunga was evidently collected and administered by district agency of the state. Mostly the land tax assessed was based on frequent survey evaluating the quality of land and type of produce. Kalyani Chalukya records specifically mention black soil and red soil lands of their territories. It also speaks about the wetland, dry land and wasteland. These all the lands were taxed. These land tax comprehensively called as Siddhaya in Kalyani Chalukya period. Apart from the land taxes, we also find some references to some other professional taxes in Kalyani Chalukya period. They collected various professional taxes from the people. There are, for example, there are some references of Angadi Tera, which stand for tax on shops. There is also reference to Domba Tera, which tax on tumblers. There is also Ganna Tera, which stand for tax on oil mills. Navida Tera referred to tax on barbers. The property taxes levied by the local bodies were called house tax, tax on threshold and bundles. There were commercial taxes collected from the merchandise. These commercial taxes were mostly collected from the commercial community, which helped the treasury of the state. Apart from the land taxes, professional taxes and other taxes, there are also mention about the other taxes on the mining and forest product. Sometimes additional income was raised through tolls for the use of transportation facility. The state also collected fees from customs, professional licenses and judicial fines. Houses and salt were also taxed. The commercial goods like gold, textile, perfumes and agricultural products like black pepper, paddy, spices, betel leaves, palm leaves, coconuts and sugar were taxed by the state, and the state officials, they collected these all the taxes from the people and they paid the taxes to the state treasury. If we conclude the economic condition of the Kalyani Chalukya and Kalachuri period, there we find many significant changes in the economic aspect of the period. Especially the economic condition of South India during the Kalyani Chalukyas and Kalachuri period was mostly based on agriculture. Majority of the state population worked for the promotion of agriculture and for the promotion of the irrigation system. They used various kind of irrigation method to water their arable lands. Mostly they used tank irrigations for the purpose of irrigation for wet crop cultivation. The trade and commerce was flourished and the merchants of the period involved in both internal and external trade activities. Both Kalyani Chalukyas and Kalachuris imposed several taxes on people, which the taxes which gave the economic prosperity of the both the countries. As for the knowledge of the sources of the Kalyani Chalukyas as well as the Kalachuri kingdom, there we can find a comprehensive kind of the development in the economic condition of the both the dynasties. Thank you for watching the video.